At the Carl Auto Group Collision Centers, we make it easy. Our expert Platinum iCard technicians use the latest technology and innovations to repair any make or model of vehicle on the road. Multiple locations in Iowa to get you back on the road faster. Get your free estimate today, in person or online at carlauto.com.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way.
The world will never be the same once you see it through the eyes of Fairway Frank.
Frank, we'll sell London broils, New York strip steaks, pork chops, pork steaks.
Frank's mama always said, life is like a T-bone steak. When you shop at Fairway, you know exactly what you're gonna get.
Hey guys, it's Chris Williams here with Cyclone Fanatic telling you about one of my favorite companies that I've worked with, and I hire them all the time. Country Landscapes. They're located up in Ames, but they have offices in eastern Iowa as well, over in North Liberty, got one up in Clear Lake. I've hired Country Landscapes to do all the landscaping in my front yard, but I've also hired them to come over and give me advice on planting trees in my front and backyard. Stuff I don't really know about, but boy, the folks at Country Landscapes are experts in this field. They also have a skilled stone mason division that creates outdoor living and cooking spaces. That's something I need to look into. Check them out, Country Landscapes. You want that dream fire pit in your backyard? That's an idea for this spring. Country Landscapes supporting our March Madness coverage of the Cyclones here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What's up, everybody? Connor Ferguson here, right outside Maples Pavilion, about to cover this Iowa State round of 32 matchup. The number 7 Cyclones taking on number 2 Stanford tonight here out in California. As always, leave your questions. I want to hear what you guys are wondering about. I've probably dove into this game 3 times more than I needed to, and now it looks way too simple and way too. I don't know. I envy, or I don't envy basketball coaches in these type of games because it's very easy to overthink the matchup and do something or not. But anyway, it's the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show, presented, I should say, by Caliber, Iowa. Fantastic people over there. They're presenting our entire coverage of March Madness for the women's side, and looking at just us being able to be here, Kansas City, for wrestling. I know Jacqueline had some complications with her mother in the hospital, but I think all news is good news there on that front. But we've been able to be everywhere. So appreciate Caliber and appreciate all our awesome sponsors that bring you our coverage tonight and the rest of the way for the Cyclones. Obviously, the men got the Sweet 16 berth yesterday, and we're going to see if the women can do it in the last game of the entire weekend tonight here at Stanford. Simon asked, what are the key matchups tonight? It's really going to be a battle in the paint. You need Isnell Nadabu. You need everything that she can absolutely give you. Stanford is powered by 2 bigs, Cameron Brink and Kiki Iriafen. It's Iriafen. I wrote it down so I didn't forget, and I still can't really pronounce it well, so apologies. But Iriafen is averaging 18.6 points per game and 10.9 rebounds on average. She's 6'3". Cameron Brink is a social media star, you could say. Bunch of followers on Instagram, 6'4" post. She averages 17.8 points per game, but 12.1 rebounds. They take care of, between the two, they average 20 rebounds a night. So you have to find a way to turn those into your rebounds, turn those into turnovers, tie-ups, whatever it might be. You need Audie Crooks to look like the Audie Crooks she looked like on Friday. Not saying she doesn't look like that in every game she plays, but if you can go 90% from the field with Audie Crooks, that goes a long way, especially in this game. And just to put an emphasis here on how big those 2 post players are for them, the next highest points per game scorer is their point guard, Hannah Jump. She's got 10.4 per game. Everyone else is in the single digits. Their production runs through the forwards, and they do everything really well. They are able to do that. It doesn't run through the forwards because that's their only two good players. Obviously, them being a 2 seed, you would probably assume that, but so no, it is going to come down to what can you do in the paint? Can you get anything extra from your role players? Can you limit their makes, and are they going to have an off shooting night? Their record at this, they're in their home arena, so asking for that is asking for a lot. But they're 42-5 here. Stanford is in NCAA tournament games, so that kind of shows you the history of this program and what you're going up against. They've been here, they've done that. Maybe you hope they overlook you. If that's one aspect to it. I know there's a quote from the press conference that I know stuck out to some of the people, but it was just forget her name now. It's one of their guards. Hold on, we'll get there. It might have been Hannah Jump, honestly. It's Hannah Jump or Courtney Ogden. And she said Iowa State reminds us of Oregon State, and we beat them 3 times. So we're just going to beat them another time, or keep the pattern the same, or something like that. And if you're looking for motivation, the way she said it didn't have any malicious, but when you write it out, it definitely does. So, David, love you, buddy. He says anything other than working the inside out game that will be key to pulling the upset tonight. Transition. It's definitely the transition game. How tight can you have that? How many opportunities on loose ball turnovers, on steals, on breakaway lands? How many times can you come away from that without a missed opportunity? You have to limit the things that get other teams back into a game before you even start playing. Because if you get out of this game, it's easy to get out of it. I know we saw the 20-point comeback. This is a team that you want to believe is never out of a game. You're in the NCAA tournament. You're in the round of 32. I think it's really, really hard to ever get taken completely out of this game. But you still want to avoid that. You don't want to get down by 10, 15, 20. So Simon's also asking if Stanford has big crowds. They had a pretty decent contingent here. Is relatively full for Norfolk State. I would expect a decent crowd this week, and it's a pretty small arena. It kind of reminds me, I said on the last pregame, it reminds me of Municipal. It reminds me a little more even of the Des Moines Buccaneers arena. And some of you guys are laughing right now saying I'm just trying to figure out how to connect it to hockey. But it's a bit old. You can kind of tell it's old. It doesn't have the normal touches, and there's a lot of painted wood around, obviously a basketball court, not what I mean, in the stands. And it just feels like a vintage place, and it's small, compact. It gets very loud anyways. The Iowa State band helps out with that a lot. So I think it'll be an intense crowd. It still wasn't a crap ton of people on Friday. So I'm not in there right now, and I didn't get in there before the doors opened to see. And even then that's the people arriving at least 40 minutes before the game. So I'll tweet about that, though. I'll let you guys know what's going on with that. Sound like Hannah was going to have a mask on tonight. She will. She got popped in the face against Maryland. The only thing I got was Bill said she doesn't like wearing it, but we'll see. She came here to have her March Madness moment, and she kind of had it on Friday with a couple of those threes. We'll see if she can do it again tonight. Need to get Audie's going at the start. Yeah. How do we stop Brinks' mid-range game? I don't want to see Audie get pulled out too far. Yeah, that's another key, Steve. Great question there. That's where you look at who's your 4 spot. Can they be able to guard that? Can you balance out, keeping Audie down low for the rebound with who's going to guard that spot? Are those shots going to go in all night? You have to assume they are. So, can you eliminate the things that they do well, or counter them with anything that you do well yourself? I think those are 2 really key aspects to how you're going to try and attack this team that, by all means, like very, very much one of the elite teams in college basketball. It's a tall task on all accounts tonight. But Iowa State looking for their second Sweet 16 in 3 seasons. Obviously, they went the same year the men did last time around. Real quick, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. So get your questions in if you want to. But want to thank the people at Fairway Meat and Grocery. One of the first ever advertisers we had at Cyclone Fanatic was Fairway, and we could not appreciate them more. It's getting hot out. It's starting to warm up. I know I'm in California saying that, and you guys are back in Iowa, and I heard the weather's not great there, so I apologize for that. But summer's right around the corner. It's almost grilling season. Remember our friends at Fairway Meat and Grocery for the absolute best meat selection you can find. Get out to Fairway. Get ready for grilling season. But no, shoot, we got 19 minutes or so until tip-off here at Stanford. It's going to be pretty hectic. It's going to be a high-pressure game. The one thing I have is I'm really excited for this team to be able to see out playing with really nothing to lose. And Bill Finlay and I go back and forth with that. He'll always disagree with that. I think the pressure gets up to you a lot more in the first round of a big tournament game than it does the second. Basically, you haven't played in that arena. It's a new stage. You're trying to figure out sight lines. You're trying to figure out what you're doing. I think once you've played one game at a level, out of place, the second game's always easier. At least my personal experience, it has been. But you also, you weren't expected to go this far. You weren't expected to, make a run in this tournament. Now you have 40 minutes and all you got to do is win one game, and your entire season and how it's looked on changes. And I think there's a lot of positives on the side of a win. A loss is always going to be the same thing, right? It only gets bigger with each win. It only gets bigger to chase. That's my philosophy when I say they have nothing to lose. Obviously, you lose and your season's over. You don't get the game with the same group again. But, that happens. Good things come to an end. But no, so we'll see what happens with tonight's game. John asks if I think they will double Audi quite a bit. I haven't watched Stanford this year. Okay. It's going to be something that they're going to double Audi. And if Iowa State can move the ball around and shoot threes and get threes to go, that's how you're going to end up countering that. They have two dominant posts. I was saying earlier in Kiki and Cameron Brink. And if they can try to double Audi, how good is Audi going to be at breaking the double team? She's not exactly bad at it. So there's a lot of things I'm looking for that we haven't really had a team Iowa State's played with two dominant big posts to see how Audi would handle it, especially not one recently. So there's a lot of question marks too, right? But it always goes back to, well, they're a 2 seed. They're really, really good. They are historically really, really good. They can't be bad. So you kind of take that and measure your expectations with it. But I do think there's a fair amount of question marks out there that Iowa State could end up exploiting something. And that's your key to winning the game. You got to find out what that something is. So do to them what Maryland did to us in the first half. Yeah, essentially. Need to find your Allie Kubik that's going to go 7 for 7 on our first 7 3-point attempts. Maybe not have her stop shooting them in the second half too. After going 5 for 5 from 3-point line in the first half. So, anyways, thank you all for tuning into these. I think Chris and Brent are getting the nightcap for you. So I won't see you again tonight. Hopefully, I'm on one of these next week in the Sweet 16. If not, thanks for following along, and thanks to all our fine, amazing sponsors for keeping us running here on the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. Thanks again, guys. We'll be updating social media and all that. I'll get a read on the crowd. Let me run down to the arena and get there for y'all. So thanks again for listening. Appreciate all y'all.